Hey, I'm back. I'll give this a minute for people to come in. What we're going to do is take a look at the tracks we have that people have submitted so far and see if we can put together some kind of grouping and define what's going to get released. Pretty exciting. All right. So that's Whiteout. We heard that in track feedback. Here, Mindbender Cirrus. Now, earlier I went through and quickly tapped out the tempo on these and warped them. Hey, there's Scott. Cool. I was just talking to myself. So what I did so far today was I downloaded the new versions of tracks that people have submitted and went through and just tapped out the tempo and warped them and set up my master channel so I can press play and have the track come out at the original tempo and be able to easily scan through with the playhead and check stuff out. So that's Mindbender, definitely in the acid techno vibe, and another deep Mindbender jam on the acid techno vibe. Paul Robinson coming in 124. And Scott, that graphic you put up with the there was 3 pictures of a boat where it said the marketing goal, the marketing budget, and the expected return on ROI, and one of them was like an iron on the sequel. That was hilarious. That's a little bit what I feel like. I'm like, we're gonna put out a Bandcamp release and promote it with just our own selves, and like, here's our imaginary promo plan, and then having like this big expected attention stuff and everything. I was laughing about that. Ian's here, Pivklet's here. So y'all who just jumped in, last time in label submissions, I took all the tracks that people had given us and put them into categories. We have the hard stuff, the down-tempo stuff, techno, with not including Sheppers, and then some house releases. And I haven't decided what compilation is going to get done first, but the decisions we have in place are we're going to have compilation graphics that are like a blank template where we can change colors and change themes and have a style that's recognizable for all the releases. Where number two, we're planning a series of releases where each one has its own vibe. So there's basically going to be like tempo genres, you know, like a house release, a techno release, up tempo, faster stuff, down tempo, chill out stuff. I mean, that's 4 compilations right there. And continuing on, we'll just kind of repeat those when we get the tracks that fit together, and maybe get into like even more detailed niches, like, I don't know, like a rumble techno dark vibe thing, and then like whatever. So I'm open to all that kind of stuff. And I guess we got to figure out which release is going to go first and then which tracks are going to be on it. And maybe we should do techno first. I don't know. Shepherd's No Mercy, AIM version 1. This was uploaded, but I think that one's the same one from before, not getting released. Okay. And we got Denats down here. So let me know, what do you guys think if we do techno first? Is that a good plan? Or do you have a strong opinion about it? I mean, this is going to be a Bandcamp release. The strategy is basically to get several releases on Bandcamp and then develop our promotion and distribution with Labelworks or something else to get distribution through into Beatport, Apple Music, Spotify, all the other streaming services once we have a few solid releases in place. So I'm thinking of just building a nice smooth foundation that we can consistently put out a compilation every month and back it up with previews, video clips, maybe some interviews, square posts on Instagram that show like graphics and little like reels and things like that. So we're always introducing the new stuff that's coming up and leading up to a release date. Anti-Logic mastering. Yeah, that's the other question is, should we take all these all these submissions and make sure we get pre-masters and have them all. So Pipclit, should we have all the releases mastered, I mean, by the same person? That's the question. Should we have all the tracks on one compilation mastered by one person? I think yes. And how much is that going to cost? And how long does it take? Ian, thank you. Good for whatever works with the group, or for the good of the group. Promote the group and what people can achieve. Yeah, that's my personal goal is to use this to say, hey, look, this is what our group is able to achieve. That's the feeling of behind it. This is cool from Dinats. It has almost like that house feel, but more of like a ding 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 driving techno type vibe. Okay, let's go back up. We had the whiteout track. Wait. I forgot to warp that one. Here we go. People have already had their tracks mastered. I think it would be the best idea to have the same engineer on a release also. I'm gonna make this one kind of a deeper color vibe. I use colors to kind of tell me, like in a DJ set when I have a stack of tracks, I use the colors to let me know like roughly what feeling is in this music. Yeah, those two go kind of in the same world. So if we're thinking of a techno compilation, let's have one section that's a little smoother. This one's a little harder. Let's say it's kind of orangey, right? A whiteout got submitted twice. I'm not sure why. And those are the acid ones. So I'm thinking of like a basic compilation structure where there's a few things that are softer and deeper, a couple that are like faster and harder type thing. And where would that leave us with this one? Okay, and then Dinats. That's definitely in the fast. Okay, so there's 7 tracks right here. Got some of them are duplicates. And let's say you're shopping for a compilation, right? You're dropping the needle, skipping through every track, and saying, do I want to buy this? So you get one of those. Okay, I've got an idea for how that's going to feel. Got one of these. Right away, I think, okay, those first 2 tracks I could play in a set together. This one needs to be mastered compared to the other ones. And it's shifting out of the softer vibe into like an acid type of vibe. So going to this one next, I'd be like, ah, these guys are dropping some shit, right? And then this one fits with... The question I'm asking basically is like, would all these fit together on one release? Okay. And that totally fits with the acid vibe. And has a little bit of more of a psytrance kind of vibe with the like, and then Dinats. This would be great for a last track. I like it when the last track on a compilation is really strong. So it's like, oh, it's, you know, if you get a record and they just throw all the garbage at the end, that's always bullshit, right? So I like it when the last track is so solid that it's like, these people have so much good music all the way to the end. It's really, really good. So right there, that's 7 tracks. We could release a 7-track compilation and all these are playable. So Dinats might be a good bridge track. You're right, that could be a good bridge track between universes. Let's make our bridge brown. Sorry, Danets, you don't get to be yellow. All right, so there's roughly, so question, 7 tracks, EP, release number 1. Is that enough? And then maybe by the time, maybe we could add 1 or 2 more. We were talking about, like, before we talked about the maximum number of tracks being 12 or maybe 15 if they're all quality. What's the minimum number of tracks? 5 is not enough. 7 for me? That's acceptable, I think. I think I could hear 7 tracks and be like, oh, that's cool. That's a good representation. So let's review what's in our house demos. Is that all those? Yeah. Just to refresh. Whoa. You know what? I'm not sure that's the right tempo. Oh, that's that track with the moving bass line. Do, 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 do. Okay. And Ben Hunt. There's that one. There's the classic bouncy Danats right here. And we got Scott with some pre-masters. I like your tracks because they always have a depth that you can really get into. And inverted. We might have Alex B coming in on some house and techno. I know he's got some really great tracks we've been bringing through track feedback, and I would like him to have releases that are going to get better promotion and distribution right away because they're that good. But if he wants to have them with us on a compilation, that could be another one too. That's a little bit of like a darker, harder sound. It's Scott, you put in 4 releases. So another element of compilations is, you know, not to have like 5 tracks from one artist. That's a nice spacey track. So out of these 4, I would probably pick 2 Canada tracks to have. And that was good. And then there's me and Morton doing that deep, spacey, chill out one that we could have as the last track, possibly. Let's quit. No, actually, I could feel this as an opening track on the house thing. I would like to have a couple more. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. Let's say we have 6 that we would put together out of this one. If I was going to play, if we're going to pick 2 Canada tracks, all these, and then a few more. I would love to have an OSP track on the compilation. Yeah, tracks that haven't been released before. And I like these songs. I have this feeling, I'm not putting into words yet, that like in the group we have other house producers that are not represented here. Like Randy Adams, it'd be great to have a Randy Adams track in there to show that kind of clicky, deep vibe. And maybe maybe we should wait and do the house for like July. So here, what do you guys think about doing a techno release as our first compilation with a release date in June on the 20th? We're going to do mastering, where I'll ask for pre-masters, make sure we have versions that we can get mastered. I'll figure out a deal to get them mastered for something that I can afford to pay up front, and then plan to cover the costs of hosting on Bandcamp and mastering by selling copies of the release, which we all help to promote, and make back the money for the first production costs, which should be hopefully under 300 euros, $300, maybe roughly. How does that sound for a plan? Does that sound workable? I would need help from all y'all to do the promo and share things and give me advice on what I'm doing, because I can plan this all out and say that's like the idea, but I definitely want some feedback on it if you think that's going to work. And then we could go with 7 techno jams and maybe like another 1 or 2. Scott, DM those people to see if they want to include a track. Yes. Clearly, the most obvious thing that I just totally didn't think of. Clipboard time. Let me put on some music while I'm sketching these ideas. I want to listen to this one. And I'm just going to write down what I said as like the parameters. Oh, Scott would be happy to cover costs for mastering for tracks on release. All right, thank you. I'm open to that. I can put together a budget of what its projected costs if we want to donate together and pay for it up front, and then have a release budget to get it back. I appreciate that. It's almost like a labor of love. I mean, I'm thinking mostly like if we can get this out there and have it promote the group, promote the music, sound really excellent, and get attention from people who want to hear another one and break even without losing money, that's okay. You know, like it'd be nice to make some money with it, but as long as it's a stable thing that we put good energy into and it can slowly grow over time, that's where I'm at with the money on it. DJ Waters, always get my stuff mastered by Piv as soon as they're ready. Yeah. All right, so 20 June, techno release. What are you saying? Those stupid engineers can get X% of sales and not getting paid before some money has come in. Oh, we tell the mastering engineer, you get nothing until he sells records. I don't know. I think we should pay the mastering people up front. But that depends on what kind of relationship we have. Ian, if people want to submit a track for what the mastering costs, they should pay for it. All right, another way to express that. And I think we should have a Shepard's track on the techno release. He's got a lot of tracks. If he had one to submit, to just get that grinding, driving, I kind of would like to include that. I know that's not everybody's style. You know, not everybody likes that style, but it has such an energy to it. And Ian Waters, right? We got a glimpse of the future. Okay, DJ Waters is in there, yeah. Can you guys think of anybody who you want to see on the techno compilation that I didn't mention? I'm not really thinking of all the people in the whole entire group, but shout out some names or something if you can feel like, if you can imagine a techno track that we've had through track feedback that should be on this. Let me know. Maybe we could get up to 10 tracks or something. So June 20th, techno release first, 7 tracks minimum, PM for submissions. Get pre-masters and get mastered by one person. I do feel pretty strongly about that we should have one mastering engineer do the whole release, so it's going to be consistent. Even with the different styles that have different relationships of kick, drum, and bass and synths, there should be one person who does that. Yeah, has Pivclit snatched up all the Shepard's releases already? And Pivclit, you're on deck basically for the mastering. We want to work with you. As far as I know, everybody's had a good experience with working for you on that. So I'm happy to just say right now that you can be the mastering person for everything. And do you have a track to put on this? Like the last remix was freaking amazing. That 138 BPM one. Max, Randy, Jens. Yep. Okay. And actually, Tenka Trance, Jesper, remember those tracks he was pulling out from 9 years ago that were freaking amazing? If he had something unreleased. All right, Ian, everyone should be willing to contract Den mastering for one track if they want it on there, and nobody will expect everyone to chip in to pay for the works. Yeah, Oliver definitely got OSP on the list. Cool, good. And then as for the contracts of publishing, I'm just going to get a template of a contract. Like I've had some publishing deals and everything. It's going to be basically a non-exclusive license, which means we have the right to put it out and nobody can sue us or whatever. But if someone wants to release their track independently on another label or something, they're free to do that. as long as the other label is okay with having it on the Mix a Texture compilation first. And then we'll put in some specific details about what to expect in terms of release, output locations, payment, sharing splits, and all that. And we'll need to have a contract meeting later to look at the contracts and make sure that they're including the right stuff. I'm thinking of that as like, we know each other, and I'm being as totally upfront about everything as possible, so I don't anticipate any problems with it. The only problems come if you're not specific and somebody's expecting some huge thing that doesn't happen and they're like, oh, you never said, So I want it to be specific enough that everybody knows what to expect. It's all very upfront and transparent. And then, we're just humans doing a cool project together. I don't think there's a big legal issue on any of that. Okay. Anybody have any questions? Up next, I'm just kind of taking notes of what I'm talking about. Contract, non-exclusive, and promo. Yeah, Ian, terms and conditions. Yep. Scott, I would love to hear from you about the brand kit, marketing plan, promo items. Like, if you could sketch an outline and email me like bullet points of like, what are if you had to design like the simplest marketing campaign on a 4-week timeline, what elements would you want to have? I mean, we all know like images, video, some text, some links, some previews, some copy and stuff, and a brand kit that shows like, here's where it's all coming to, channeling it back to one site or one link or one thing like that. And there's the element of storytelling where you're like, announcement, something's coming, build anticipation. Detail, it's coming soon, here's one thing that's part of it. Another detail, and showing snippets that create a story that people can follow and lead up to the moment when it becomes available, like launch day, release day, now it's available. I get the idea of a story arc, creating anticipation for something that you're just showing little bits of it. But if you could maybe email me or something with like a super short, like little bullet point marketing plan of what you see professionally that works in our situation when we're doing it bootstrapping without a huge budget or something. I would love that. So Ian knows this from music better than I would. Oh, and okay, well, let's open that to everybody. So in the Discord channel, type in your marketing and promo tips. And this is something I would like to read and collect later. I'm not going to try and transcribe and write down everything because I know you're going to say important stuff. I'm holding a damn pencil. But yeah, Scott, that's exactly right. So if you give a high level outline of like, here's the basic thing. My high level outline is like, tell a story, build anticipation, show details, and drop a release date and do a launch. Like, that's just kind of overview. Ian has had some amazing success with promo with his tracks. And there's a lot of stuff we were talking about before. I want to collect all the little ideas we had from before, like using some of the tracks in DJ sets, getting tracks out to other DJs, having mix sets on other shows to get to a bigger audience, and find all these ways we can connect with other people for promotion naturally from people who love the music rather than, paying for ads or something. I don't want to do a big splashy, like paid ad campaign, like a new thing. There are times to do that, but not on this one. This can be okay with all of us sharing organic pieces of content to just work with the audience we have before trying to like pay for some whole new audience. So yeah, we're gonna blame Ian. Ian Waters killed my record label. Let me know if anybody has any questions, or specifically if there's something really obvious that I'm missing, because I always feel like I know what I'm doing, but I don't know what I don't know, like that gap of ignorance or whatever. And put mastering. And I need to know, so if we had, let's say we had 10 tracks, PivClit, what would be the timeline for mastering if you got 10 pre-masters that were all good and didn't need to be remixed or touched or anything? Let's assume the pre-masters are done. What would be the timeline you want to get those ready for a release? Like a month or 6 weeks or 5 weeks or 3 weeks or something. And you don't have to tell us that in the chat. We could have an email exchange or something or whatever, but I want to make sure we respect your ability to do quality work without giving you some last minute bullshit like, oh, it's due tomorrow, we got to get it done, you know. Trying to plan this out not only for the first release, but so that we have a system when we want to put out releases more often. Everybody knows what to do. It's a team effort. I can kind of steer the boat, help collect stuff, organize things and everything. And we have people in the crew who are ready to go. Like, yep, here's what we do for our promo as part of the group. Here's how we share stuff. And, you know, have like a nice, well-oiled machine for putting out a stream of releases that are going to be compilations first, and eventually EPs, like a 2-track EP or 4-track EP from one person who's got their thing. And then if we could all help push that one person's release, it'll be, like I said at the beginning, everybody gives comments on track feedback and everybody gets comments on track feedback. It should be exactly the same thing with promo. Everybody helps promote stuff, and then when you have a release, other people help promote your release. I think we can get there. You know, it'll take a few months to put out some releases and build it up and get our system going, but I think we have the skeleton in place. So it's 2:08. I got to go to the grocery store and buy some more cucumbers because I got no cucumbers. And how are you going to eat a salad without cucumbers? What the hell? It makes no sense. It's not possible. Can't happen. It's Saturday. I guess that's all for now. And we're at the end of that track. You know what's weird? I pressed play to listen to this track. Oh, 11 minutes. No wonder. I was about to say, it feels like this... I was talking for a really long time, but it was probably only 5 minutes. In fact, it was 11 minutes. Pivclit, all right, 4 weeks. Got to live and breathe with the releases. So get that shared sound without shifting the sound of individual tracks. Yeah. So 4 weeks. Cool. And Ian, you're totally right. We tried the promo on individual tracks before, but only a few people did it. I noticed that too. And I noticed you were sharing tracks and other people were not promoting your tracks as much, even I wanted to. And then there was a couple of weeks where I remember saying a lot of times, like, other people, please let me know in advance when you have a release. So I think that's my job, to find out in advance when other people are going to be ready for releases, and then have a specific promo pack that I can just send out to people in the group and say, here are the releases. They're coming up in the future. Get ready to promote. Here's the links. Here's the material, so you can spread it out. I know for me personally, if I wake up in the morning and I got my 8 a.m. start time to do some tech work, and then I see a notification on like some random platform that's like, hey, here's my link. And then I'm like, what the hell? It just came out of nowhere. And I feel bad if I don't have time to make a post that's formatted with the links and all the stuff and looks pro and can be usable. You know, I feel bad that I don't always have time to do that in the middle of some other multitasking thing. So I know other people are going to feel the same way. So what we got to do is have lead time, advance notice, a schedule, awareness of what releases are coming up. And that way everybody can get the message multiple times, and we can just really say, like, this is the next one. Let's all push this. I think that's a communication issue that that'll be my job to work on and be like the central communication person for that. I'm not worried about mine, as I do a better job of it, but people can't expect everyone to do it for them. Yeah. And you've also been doing some great stuff with boosting some posts and putting in like 50 pounds or something on promo, which is a good idea eventually, to pay for some promo to boost the content we have. That'll be coming up in a bit. All right, I'm going to stop here. Thanks for all the comments, everybody. I wrote these down, and I'll be looking for some feedback from individual people when I ask them for tracks, from Pivclit to just solidify our mastering relationship. I need to get some contract stuff in place for terms and conditions and licensing, publishing stuff. A little bit of a marketing plan in place with a calendar and a deadline, and then a communication channel to make sure we know who's in the crew, who is willing to help promo, to do promo, that they say they're going to do it. So I can tell them, you said you're going to do it. Now it's time to do it, and have the materials and resources ready to tell them, here's what we're going to be promoting to help the whole thing go. And it's honestly not rocket science. You know, it's not crazy difficult stuff. It's just a matter of putting all these pieces together, doing the follow through. Save to the hard drive. All right, everybody. Thank you so much. We got 3 watching now. Yeah. Thanks a lot. And I'm going to get off for Saturday. We'll see you on Wednesday for track feedback. And let me know if you have any other questions or comments in Discord. And that's where it's at. All right. Thanks a lot, y'all. Bye-bye. And